I'm generally a big fan of questions, but there is one in particular I dislike. Goes along the lines of who asked, or its non-question sibling, no one asked. Like, it has its place as a good way to shut down people who spout hateful rhetoric out of nowhere, but beyond that case, that's unfortunately common nowadays, I really do believe it has no place. Like, have you ever shared a thought without anyone asking explicitly for it? I know I have. In fact, that's kind of the premise for this YouTube channel so far, were it not for a friend or two saying I should write down my thoughts on things. The question implies one needs to do a bizarre form of market research to see if their idea has any demand. Like, you can't just show up one day talking about how Gravatar-like individualized pride flags would be cool because they'd be a good demonstration of the spectrum of gender and how its expressions are unique to each individual, just because it's a lofty, unrealistic ideal that kind of ignores the necessity of solidarity in the LGBTQ+ community. But like, that's a pretty cool thing to think about anyway, even if no one asked for it. And there's a whole world of interesting things out there waiting to be explored. Entire fields of study with no one in them because there's no money in it. Like, you try and find a profitable use case for studying why belly button lint is blue, because we know what it's made of as of only the past 20 or so years, but we haven't come to a consensus on why it's always some shade of blue. And it's not because of the average of your clothes being blue, since you can wear non-blue clothes and still get very blue lint. And the who asked comes in the form of no one funding that research, despite widespread public curiosity. However, I'd say the worst offender though, and more in line with what actually happens online nowadays, is when someone says something that doesn't really contribute to a conversation. Like, they don't do anything wrong in what they say, because it's like not dumb hate, but you don't need to insist no one asked when someone comes out of the blue with a tangent. You can just ignore them for free instead of making them feel bad for reading the room wrong. The threat of conversation can't always be predicted, especially among those on the autistic spectrum, where even brief mentions of one's interests can spark an explosion of thoughts and feelings on something that's only minimally related. I know quite well the fear of being mocked for simply having too much to say on a subject I care about, because making someone a copy pasta is often a roundabout way of saying no one asked for this. So, in the spirit of the difference between dislike, where you're actively against something, and don't like, where liking something simply doesn't describe you, save your who asked, your no one asked, and your cool story bros for the haters and the splainers. And don't bully the curious into silence, simply because their curiosity is not your own. For one needs not justify staring at clouds. Man, the delivery on that last line kind of sucked, but now it sounds like I said it sucked, but who cares? I may be stupid.